Don't watch me go, don't let me leave. Did I close the store or did you leave before? Don't watch me go, don't let me leave. Where was I before? Why don't I love you anymore?
So it's a wide open sounding record. Very little processing, very clear, very open. So I have a question for you. Do you hear a lot of reverb? No. There's 3 reverbs going on right now at the same time. I'm going to solo the vocal and show you. This is just a vocal.
Don't watch me go, don't let me leave.
Okay, I'm going to make them very obvious so you can pick them with your ear.
Don't watch me go,
Okay, you hear them now?
don't let me leave.
Okay.
Did I
On every song I do, I have 3 to 4 reverbs. The one I have at all times is called the Office. I'll show you what it is. So, this is just with the Office.
Don't watch me go,
You hear some reverb?
don't let me leave.
You don't really hear reverb. That's the whole point. I'm going to mute it. Check it out. With,
Don't watch me go,
without.
don't watch me go.
See how it becomes a little more close? I'm going to make it more obvious so you can see. This is with,
Don't watch me go,
okay? This is without.
don't watch me go.
So it creates a space behind the singer. The way I do this is I do this using the Oxford reverb. And why am I using the Oxford reverb for that? Because it has early reflections as a separate engine. Most reverbs will have pre-delay, and that's your early reflections, or it stands for the early reflections. This actually has true early reflections. So for example, if I want my singer, right now my singer is in a square room, in the front of the room. The room is 5 meters. It's pretty narrow, and it's got a lot of curtains on, and it sounds like this.
Don't watch me go,
Okay? If I move her to the back of the room, it sounds like this.
don't watch me go,
And then if the room is a little bigger, it sounds like this.
don't watch me go,
And then I'm going to remove the curtains.
don't watch me go.
So you can really completely decide how the room looks and sounds. So you can decide where you put your singer in the room, which is pretty amazing. So this is a little bright, it's a little too far back. There you go.
Don't watch me go,
A little wider.
don't let me leave.
It's pretty cool.
Did I?
So a little less of it, like this.
Don't watch me go,
Okay, you don't hear reverb.
don't let me leave.
But if I remove it, it sounds like this.
Don't watch me go,
Everything sounds very dry and in your face. Because everybody's recording their music like this now. This is where I put the vocal mic. This is where I put the bass mic. This is where I put the bass drum mic. This is where I put every single mic when you record. It's annoying. Why? Because when you're done recording everything like this, then you put the faders up to mix it, and it sounds like everything's in your face. There's no distance. There's no space around the performers. So I use this Oxford reverb to put the space back in, and I can actually design the space around every single instrument exactly the way I want it to be. I don't have to use a preset. Now, if you're lazy, I have a lazy streak, but not for reverbs. You can use the presets, but I just make my own space every time. It's very practical. So that's the early reflections, and then you have the tail. So in this particular reverb, I don't use the tail, but I have another one that I call the hall, which I use the tail on. So this is what it sounds like.
don't watch me go,
You recognize this sound?
don't let me leave.
Okay? So the tail has the usual stuff. Reverb time, size, dispersion, phase difference. These are, esoteric little settings, but you can really, really custom tailor the reverb to what you want. Absorption is the same as before. It's not an EQ. It's a dynamic absorption algorithm. So it's not just, taking the EQ down. And then diversity is another kind of stereo spread kind of thing. And then you can go between tail and early reflection and do a mix between the two of them on every reverb. And then on top of that, you get an EQ. So you can equalize your reverb from within the reverb. Everybody equalizes their reverbs. That's how you can make a reverb present without being in the way. So this is my hall.
Don't watch me go,
What I like to do with the hall, I like to make it very big hall, but very short reverb.
don't watch me go,
So you get a very, you get a sense of height and size above the singer.
don't watch me go,
So a little bit less of that,
don't let me leave.
okay?
Did
And then on this song, I have another Oxford reverb This one I'm compressing before. So I'm going through a send and I'm compressing what I'm sending to the reverb before I get into the reverb. So what I'm getting is I'm getting kind of like a really consistent ribbon of sound, like a kind of like a little cushion behind that's always on. I'm just going to let you hear just that.
Don't watch me go. Don't let me leave.
Okay, you don't get the dynamic in the reverb because I'm compressing the hell out of the signal before I get into it.
Don't watch me go.
But what it gives it this very consistent thing that never sticks out, so you don't really hear it, but if you remove it, it feels empty. So in the combination of the 3 reverbs, like this.
Don't watch me go. Don't let me leave. Did I close the door?
Same mix without reverb.
Did you leave before? Don't watch me go.
The mix completely falls apart if I mute the reverb. So this reverb is incredibly precise and easy to program, and the grain of it is very transparent, so you can have as much of it as you want in a track. It's an unbelievable reverb, having early reflections, tail, equalizer, all built into one space. It's pretty wild. It's a great tool.